While the headlines around the Cleveland Browns this summer are dominated by quarterback battles, contract moves, and stadium plans, something far more subtle, but arguably more important, is happening behind the scenes. Deshaun Watson, still recovering from a torn Achilles, is not just rehabbing quietly in the background. He's stepping into a role that few expected, and even fewer saw coming: mentor. This isn't the typical narrative fans are used to when it comes to Watson. After 2 seasons filled with injuries, rust, and off-field controversy, many in the Dawg Pound have been questioning not just his health, but his place as a leader in this locker room. Now, in the most ironic twist of all, it's Watson's absence from the field that may be revealing his true value to the team. According to multiple reports from Browns camp, Deshaun Watson has taken a proactive approach in working with the young quarterbacks on the roster, most notably rookie Shedeur Sanders. It's not just casual advice between drills. Insiders say Watson is spending time in the film room with Sanders, helping him process defenses, break down blitzes, and understand the timing and rhythm needed to thrive in Kevin Stefanski's offense. And it's happening consistently, daily even. To understand the weight of this development, you have to put it in context. Shedeur isn't just another rookie. He's coming in with the kind of media spotlight and pressure that most young quarterbacks rarely face. Being the son of Deion Sanders adds layers of expectation, and his college career was marked by huge performances, but also moments of inconsistency. Entering the NFL, he faces not only the challenge of adjusting to speed and complexity, but also the burden of carrying a name that commands attention. In this situation, a young QB could easily get overwhelmed. That's where Watson comes in. And not just Watson the quarterback, but Watson the professional. The man who, for all his flaws and setbacks, has played at an MVP level in this league. The man who understands what it means to be a franchise quarterback under a microscope. He's lived it. And now he's sharing it. What's striking is how under the radar this mentorship has been. The Browns haven't posted flashy social media clips. Stefanski hasn't held press conferences about it. There's no PR push. And maybe that's the point. This isn't for headlines. This is Watson doing the work in the shadows, laying the foundation for something bigger than just his return. He's investing in the next generation, on his own terms. Even more interesting is how teammates have responded. Sources inside the building suggest that Sanders has embraced the guidance, showing a level of maturity and humility that's impressed coaches. He's been described as locked in during these sessions, taking notes, asking questions, and applying what he learns on the field. The mentorship is already paying dividends in small ways. Better reads in 11-on-11 drills, improved anticipation on crossing routes, and more confidence in command of the huddle. And yet, there's a deeper story brewing here. Because while Watson is mentoring others, he's also redefining himself. He knows the doubts, he knows the criticism, but instead of retreating or lashing out, he's choosing to lead, quietly, purposefully. And for a player who once thrived in the spotlight, there's something powerful about watching him now, doing the hard, thankless work of building up the guys around him. This isn't the comeback that fans expected, but it might be the one the Browns need most right now. On the surface, the mentorship between Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders might seem like a feel-good subplot during an otherwise competitive training camp. But dig a little deeper and you start to see the real impact. This is more than just a veteran helping a rookie with a few footwork tips. Watson's influence is showing up in the actual mechanics and mental development of Cleveland's young quarterbacks, and fans are beginning to take notice. Let's break down what's happening on the field. Multiple sources attending early practices have reported a noticeable improvement in Shedeur's pocket presence. Just a few weeks ago, he was showing signs of hesitation against disguised coverages and delayed blitzes, often locking on to his first read. Now, coaches say he's getting through his progressions faster. He's beginning to understand not just what the play is supposed to do, but why. That shift in comprehension, the ability to process a defense pre-snap and adjust on the fly, is a direct result of film sessions and breakdowns with Watson. The technical side of this mentorship has been especially impactful in 3 areas: pre-snap reads, pocket movement, and ball placement. First, pre-snap reads. Watson has reportedly been walking Shedeur through defensive disguises, how to identify if a linebacker is bluffing pressure, how to recognize coverage rotations, and how to anticipate safety movement based on formation and down and distance. These are things that don't show up in a box score but can determine whether a play succeeds or fails before the ball is even snapped. Second, pocket movement. Shedeur came into the league with solid athleticism and a decent sense of when to move, but he often drifted unnecessarily or escaped too early under pressure. With Watson's guidance, there's a noticeable improvement in his poise inside the pocket. Instead of bailing out at the first sign of pressure, he's learning to step up, slide laterally, and buy time without breaking structure. That's a skill that takes years to develop in some quarterbacks, and Sanders is now accelerating that curve under Watson's watch. Lastly, ball placement. One of Watson's best traits as a quarterback, when he's fully healthy, is his ability to throw receivers open. He's helping Sanders understand the nuances of anticipating throwing windows, especially on timing routes and back shoulder fades. Sanders has already shown better touch on intermediate throws, and coaches credit Watson's feedback for the improvement. But this technical evolution is only half the story. The fan reaction has been surprisingly emotional. After months, if not years, of division around Deshaun Watson's presence on the roster, his new leadership role is beginning to shift the narrative. On fan forums like Reddit's r/Browns and local Cleveland sports radio, callers and posters are starting to express cautious optimism. Not necessarily about Watson's on-field return, that remains uncertain, but his willingness to step into a mentor role and contribute in a meaningful way. Some fans are even comparing his mentorship to the model seen in other elite franchises, where injured stars become de facto coaches. Think Drew Brees helping Taysom Hill during downtime, or Patrick Mahomes mentoring Shane Buechele during downtime. It's a sign of maturity, of team-first mentality, and of long-term investment in the organization's future. That shift is especially significant for Watson, whose public image has remained under a cloud. While the legal controversy of his past remains a separate issue, this moment, this choice to help instead of hide, offers a glimpse of a different kind of legacy. It's not about PR, it's about substance. And for Shedeur, the benefits are just beginning. NFL development is about more than talent, it's about environment. Having someone who's been through the fire, who understands both success and scrutiny, can be the difference between a rookie floundering or finding his footing early. What's more, this mentorship is having a ripple effect. Other young players on the offense, receivers, tight ends, even the backup offensive linemen, have started sitting in on film sessions or lingering after practice when Watson is talking. His voice is carrying weight again, and not because it's being forced, because it's being earned. There's no guarantee how this season will play out. Watson's return timeline remains uncertain. Shedeur might not even see the field in 2025 if Flacco or Watson hold the job. But what's happening right now, in these offseason months, could pay dividends long after this year ends. The Browns might be building something here, not just on the depth chart, but in the culture of the quarterback room. And Deshaun Watson, quietly and without fanfare, might be at the heart of it.
In Cleveland, we've seen our share of quarterbacks. We've lived through hype trains, heartbreaks, false dawns, and last-second miracles. We've watched rookies collapse under pressure and veterans fade into irrelevance. So when we talk about leadership, when we say a player has to earn the trust of the Dawg Pound, it's not just about what they do on the field. It's about presence. It's about consistency. And most of all, it's about showing up when it would be easier to fade into the background. That's why what Deshaun Watson is doing this offseason matters more than people realize. He doesn't owe Shedeur Sanders anything. He could have chosen to stay focused on his rehab, avoid the cameras, and wait until he's cleared to throw again. And no one would have blamed him. After all, this is a quarterback recovering from a major Achilles injury, one that's ended careers and slowed down even the greats. But instead of disappearing into the shadows, Watson has made himself present, available, involved. Here at Dawg Pound Daily, we're not blind to the past. We understand that Watson's career in Cleveland has been controversial and at times disappointing. The expectations were massive, and the returns so far have been mixed at best. But what we're seeing now? A quarterback willing to invest in the growth of the man who could one day replace him? That's something that deserves attention. Let's be clear, leadership is not a social media post or a mic'd-up practice highlight. It's doing the work when no one is watching. It's choosing to make someone else better even when your own path is uncertain. That's exactly what Deshaun Watson is doing with Shedeur Sanders, and it sends a message to the entire locker room that this team is bigger than one name, one contract, or one stat line. We've talked to fans who are ready to write Watson off completely, who didn't want to see him start again, who saw him as a sunk cost. Now, some of those same fans are saying they see a different side, a humbled player, a teacher, maybe even a leader. Does that mean he'll be the starter in Week 1? Not necessarily. We still don't know if his body will hold up, but here's what we do know. When a young quarterback like Shedeur Sanders walks into the NFL, what he needs most isn't a playbook or a highlight reel. He needs guidance. He needs someone who's been through it, someone who understands the pressure and the politics, someone who's been the face of a franchise and survived it. If Watson can give Shedeur that, if he can help him develop into the player this organization hopes he'll become, then maybe that's the start of something more meaningful than just a return from injury. Maybe that's the beginning of redemption, not just for Watson, but for the entire Browns quarterback culture. So now it's your turn, Dawg Pound. What do you think of Watson's mentorship role? Does it change how you see him as a leader? Do you believe this version of Deshaun Watson, off the field, helping build others up, is the version Cleveland needs most right now? Drop your comments below and let us know what leadership means to you. Who do you want shaping the future of this franchise? The voice of the fan base matters more than ever, and we'll be watching closely to see how this conversation evolves. Make sure you're subscribed because this story is only beginning. Training camp is just around the corner, and every day brings new developments. From injury updates to QB reps to what's happening in those behind-the-scenes moments that define a season before the first snap. This is Dawg Pound Daily, and we're just getting started.